It's gonna be awkward.
2, 1, boom. We are back. We're back.
We're here.
Yep.
Doing another week in the peak of
COVID.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not, but
2020, dude. It's the peak.
I don't know if this is the peak, dude. It's been the peak, I think, every week they've said.
We're getting
Every week's a new peak.
I feel like we're turning the corner. Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. They're saying after election, but who knows? But hey, thanks to everyone. Thanks to everyone that's listening. Thanks to everyone that's a Patreon supporter.
Yeah.
And,
Can't do it without you.
Can't do it without you. We've been doing it without you.
But now we can't because we have you.
Yeah, now we can't because we have to, and we kind of have
Dude,
to say
how
that.
funny is that? Like, couldn't
That
do it.
people say that.
Yeah, people are like, couldn't do this without you guys. And it's
Well,
like,
we past 2 years been doing it for.
well, how many people do you think like wouldn't do it if they didn't have people?
You know what else I want to know? I want to know how many people would actually do something for free. Because I was thinking about this the other day, and people are like, I was listening to a podcast, and they're like, I love doing this. I'd do this for free. And you could probably guess who said that. But they're like, yeah, I would do all my podcasting for free. All my podcasts, I'd do them for free.
Who said that?
And
who? Say it.
Brendan Schaub.
Oh.
But
I didn't know that.
I just figured you would have guessed. But I heard him on, it was on the Steve-O podcast, I think.
Oh.
Because I was listening to Steve-O's. Great podcast, by the way. He kills it. Love Steve-O. But anyways, before we spend too much time on this, I was thinking about it. I'm like, damn, dude, we actually have done it for free.
Yeah.
Still essential. I mean, kind of doing it for free, but well, you know.
We could do it without you. We'd rather not, though.
We'd rather not. We're happy to have you.
We're happy to have
and
you.
we're
We'll say
welcoming.
that,
we're
dude.
welcoming more. We're not trying to scare you away. You get a free hat and a sticker, and that's to
That's
show
right.
your appreciation. And that's patreon.com/WeberBoys.
Yeah, dude. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Yeah, and you know, we felt like after all the heat these past few weeks, figured we'd take the load off a little bit, and maybe or not. Maybe
we'll
it
see,
could be,
dude.
yeah.
This could be on the.
Well, because it's so broad, and you know, we might as well just tell you guys, and what that is today that we're talking about is video games, and I think that there's a few different topics within video games. I think.
Well, the main thing that we're going to talk about is, are they toxic? That's the overarching theme of the episode is, are they toxic? And we can talk about all the different pockets of whether or not they are.
And then we'll talk about our opinion, I guess, overall of video games, and then the evolution of video games, kind of how they've evolved and have they made it less or more toxic with their evolution. I just think that there's a lot that we can really get into with this. So,
well, first, I think we can start it off by saying, where did we come up with the idea for wanting to do this as a show? And I think we both saw a post about on Facebook if video games were toxic and made. Well, I don't remember.
It was something like video game. It was something tied to the topic of video games creating beta males. And as I clicked on the video and watched it, it was more centered around like professional gamers, but still the overall idea I thought just brought the interesting topic to say, well, I wouldn't consider us beta males, and I guess while we're here, our opinion on video games is that we're pro video games.
Yeah,
we're cool with them.
We're
fuck with
gamers.
them. Yeah. And
Members at GameStop still.
yeah, I still do have, I think, an account. I don't know if I pay. I don't think I have the silver card how they used to have it, where you used to get the
I'm definitely
benefits.
I'm not.
But you have the main account where you get some puntos if you return a game for
I got an
69
email.
cents.
I got an email account there. Yeah, rewards.
But anyways, yeah, so we're pro them, and I thought it was an interesting topic to kind of hear out. And we always remember hearing it growing up because we grew up in that weird time with video games to where they were still so unknown, and it was like parents of ours and other parents in that age, video games they hadn't evolved to where they are now, to where it's actual simulations.
Right.
Versus back then, it was just to take your attention away from something, playing the Pong game like Dad was just bringing up, or like even a Pac-Man game. Like Pac-Man's not a simulation of anything.
It's not. Yeah, and it's part of that gap in generation.
Yeah.
Where like like you're saying, we've got these full scale, now kids have full scale simulations. I mean, compared to Pong and Pac-Man and Snake and Centipede and all these other games, Wreck-It Ralph, they, there's nothing that can help you in a profession, really, like, unless you're a video game guy.
Yeah, unless you're like a developer. Yeah, it's crazy. So I think that's kind of the main difference for it, especially talking evolution wise, because when you look at them today, even more so, like you're just saying, like they're the level of simulation. Like I remember playing games. I was in 8th grade and I was really into flying planes. And we had a flight simulator in a tech class I was taking. And it was literally a plane video game, like you're flying a plane. So then I had the interest in it. So then I found I had this iPod Touch. So I found a flight simulator, iPod Touch game. And then I'd play that shit and then fly the plane and do all the things. And along the way, you kind of learn different things, like different planes, and you learn the different things because the games aren't stupid because they're trying to like if you're flying a 747, like commercial jet on the game, it's going to feel different than if you're flying like a tiny little personal plane.
Right.
And the same would be if you were to actually do it in person. And then what's cool too is they've got like, I've only played like one of them and it was like this car mechanic simulator, but they've got a car mechanic. They've got like farming simulators, all kinds of different simulators.
Farmville?
Yeah, but I'm talking more advanced than that. This is a legit simulation that teaches you about all the equipment, how to actually do it, the process of farming. And if you're into that shit and you want to learn the ins and outs of it, like for me, I like cars. So the car simulation game's cool because it's like teaching you to take apart all the different things, and they're actually calling the parts of the car what they are in real life. So now in real life,
you know what it is.
I'll know more what the issue is on my car, and what the bolt's called.
The racing simulators too now are like so high scale to where like back in the day, dude, we had racing games, but like if you wanted to get into like an actual car and race and on a screen in a car, you had to go to like GameWorks or something.
Dave and Buster's had those sick ones.
Yeah, so did GameWorks, dude.
Yeah, but the Dave and Buster's one had that NASCAR one that you had to like set up like 5 people in it. And
yeah, it was the same with GameWorks.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it vibrated. And
yeah.
It was like a roller coaster.
But now they have so many versions of that to put in your house.
Yeah.
But like, for you, where did the video games start? What was your first video games? Like, what was the first games you remember playing?
First games I remember playing. And
what system?
I remember PS1.
Yeah.
And I remember playing, we had a racing game, and I don't know if we got it grandfathered in from D, or if D I don't know if Dad had it already or if he got it for us.
I think he had it and then like he would play it every once in a while just because.
And then we got to play it when we wanted.
It was the latest and greatest thing, and then like we had just gotten to the point where we were old enough to play with it. And there was a racing game,
but my point to it though was instead of playing with the controller, it had a accelerator and brakes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it had,
and then steering wheel.
It had the steering wheel, and then it had like the pedal box too that you could put down beneath, and it was like you were actually driving.
But part of what I was gonna say is like we started doing that, like they always say like with professional boxers, and they say, dude, that kid's been boxing since he was 3 years old. I wonder with myself driving, because I'd fancy 100%. Myself a good driver, but I mean I've been driving some form of a simulation since I was 3. Granted, Dad was professional race car driver at one point in time, and instructor at one point in time, so it's just always been involved in our life. But like,
but there has to be something to the mechanics of understanding the balance of the vehicle, how to turn, how to accelerate, when to brake, all those sort of things with those games were huge. I remember that a lot. I remember
GTA showed me the streets.
I also remember like Madden being my first sports game.
Yeah, I think me too, because Uncle Brian had that
Yeah.
had that Madden, right? Yeah, I
He had
remember
that,
playing
and then a
that.
duck shooting game where there's like a little duck, little
I
shotgun.
remember playing that.
You shoot them.
But then I remember first game too was that there was the Power Ranger game and then the Spider-Man game. That Spider-Man game was so sick.
Before we started getting our own games, the last one of Dad's that I remember playing was Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, I didn't know that was his.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. But like, but Crash was that was like
Love
my
that game too.
first game. That was my shit.
But I was a little bit weird
Then the
because
racing.
you got to it a little bit before me, and then when I got older, what it seemed like from when I really start to remember it though, was we had this BMX game that was so sick that had and it had like What I Got on there and had such a sick soundtrack. And then Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, well, all the Tony Hawks. I mean,
all the way up to Underground something. I played it.
Yeah, Underground 2 or 3.
Huge Tony Hawk guy. And then Skate came out. But not moving too forward, we were huge NHL hits guys. Huge NHL hit guys.
Just like hockey in general, when hockey came into our lives, it like took over our lives, and it became everything that we cared about and did. And so like all the video games that were out that were hockey related, like there was NHL Hits, which is like, I think you ask any person from the hockey world what's the best hockey video game of all time, NHL Hits. And there's some debate, I guess, on which one it is, but I think it's the first one.
Yeah, it's got to be 01.
Well, I think it was 02.
That was the first. I thought the first one was Hits 01. Maybe it was 02. Because then 03 was that one where they did the street hockey thing and Pronger.
But yeah, anyway, so.
And it was Scott Stevens the first one, right?
Yeah. So there was NHL Hit. No, he was after that.
No, you're thinking of Lidstrom.
Oh yeah, you're right. It was Stevens on 02. Okay, so but what else was there? There's NHL Face Off, and then
I was a huge Face Off guy for some reason.
And then there was the NHL 2K,
which I don't know if that had come out yet though. Did it?
Yeah, because they had 2K. They had 2K
2 or something.
I know they had 2K3 because Roenick was on the cover of that.
Okay, you're probably right.
But I remember.
And maybe EA.
And then EA, yeah. But EA goes back all the way to the 90s. They're the longest running, I believe. And then, yeah, dude, like 2K for hockey, they did well in like the
animations.
Yeah, all of like everything away from the actual gameplay was good, but then we switched over to the EA Sports. Held true to that. We were pretty loyal. But we were pretty much real into the sports video games.
Yeah, I was a big sports game guy. And I think what I love the most about sports games and why I think they're super beneficial is they make you, or at least for me, they made me way more of a fan of all the sports. Meaning that like I knew all the players on all the teams. I knew everything because I'd be playing season mode and I'd be playing against the guys. I know who's good. So when I was watching a football game on Sunday, I know who to watch out for because of Madden, NHL, all these things. So I felt like it kind of would cross over. And then even in conversation with people and friends at school, I felt like had way more of a connection to sports back then when I was playing the games as often as I was then versus now. I was never, I'll say this, I've never been a huge fantasy guy game.
Fantasy sports guy?
No. Like fantasy, just like the Skyrims, the World of Warcrafts, the witches, the dragons and stuff like that. Not that there's anything, I don't think that there's a pro or a con of playing them. I think there's actually a pro that you get to kind of see a storyline and you get to follow along with it the same way you would a Harry Potter movie or something like that. But like even those kind of movies and those games, I could just never fully connect, I guess, with it as well. And sports games I love so much just because it was like
Well, you're doing it.
you're doing it, you're playing the sport, and you're
Yeah, that was always a thing for me. It was like it was a big way for me to learn the game.
I was gonna bring that up too.
Like it was a big reason that I was able to learn and develop a hockey IQ was from watching the game from like from a high point. You know, like if you're
So like watching the pros.
yeah, watching the pros, but like up in the nosebleeds so that you can see down and you can see plays develop, not when you're sitting on the front row in the glass and you can't see shit except for a guy coming and hitting the glass, which is cool, but if you're trying to learn the game, it's not helpful.
Right.
And then video games, because you're actually playing and then you get to see, like you get to try out, does this pass here work if I get the puck on the boards, or am I gonna get fucking smoked? All these different things. It helps you learn, you know, like
The mechanics better of the
dude,
game.
and just like how to do it in real life. So something for me was such a valuable tool to my career of playing hockey that like I don't know that
Well, there's a lot of guys that have said that. I remember, not to cut you off, but I remember we had this coach at DY. I don't know if he was a coach or what he was, but you remember David Spina?
yeah.
Remember he got a shot with the Coyotes? I remember we were at his first game because like all the kids that were playing at DY at the time, we all got tickets to go, and it was like some preseason game he was playing in, and he got to be up on the screen because he's a local guy or whatever. So he was saying that like growing up, the video games, the NHL games were so important for his career on getting him to where he is for that same reason, because he could visualize it and he can kind of like get a way better understanding of the game at a zoomed out view.
Yeah, because like when you're playing whatever sport it is, like you have all of the adrenaline of playing that sport that's going through you. Like, oh, am I gonna fuck this up? And the coach is gonna yell at me when I get back to the bench or whatever. Like when you're playing a video game and you get scored on, it's no big deal because it's a video game. No one's gonna yell at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you know, and then when you're doing it with your friends and it's like this thing that everyone's able to do together, it makes it a lot more fun, and you're able to do stuff like learning. But then like for us here in Arizona, it gets so fucking hot during the summertime that like you can't be outside all day.
You'll die.
Yeah, you'll die. And it's too hot. And
That's what I was gonna say, dude. We weren't robbed of playing outside as kids.
No, and that's something that like is something that I'm always reminding Shay of too, because like if little man Gregory wants to play on his iPad or something, Shaylee's always like, I don't know if we should be letting him do this or like make him go outside. And it's like, dude, no, he wants to go outside. We have to be like, hey, let's come inside and go on your iPad. It's hot, you know, like kids.
You can't be out in the sun for 8 hours.
Yeah, dude, kids want to be outside playing outside. It's natural for that. They would rather that than be on their technology.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but the technology can be very useful for you when you go to play outside if you use the technology right.
Yeah, right. And I think it's just knowing, I don't know, dude. Like, I just feel like even for me too, I don't know, you have like people have their skills and like what they're good at. And then I think that like inherently you just get better at those things. Like I've got friends that are super like logical, really like smart, strategized type people. Like even you're one of those types. So like the strategy games, you'll eat right up, and they help you better at problem solving and strategizing. And for me, I always loved like some of my favorite games were the games that you could have pretty much full creative control on customizing cars. So like Midnight Club was my shit. I liked Need for Speed, but you couldn't customize it the same way you could customize in Midnight Club. Like Midnight Club, dude, you could customize pretty much like what Forza can do now, minus all the, performance upgrades and stuff like that. But like constantly challenging, like, all right, how cool of a car can I make? And then like you've got to complete these challenges. I'll wait. You got to complete these challenges. You got to complete these challenges to have the money so you can do it. So in a way, I kind of feel like it improves your work ethic a little bit. I think you can make an argument rather than deteriorate it. Yeah, you're not doing it for a real thing, but it's helped me, I feel like, more in, because I think about life as XP now. Like growing up in a video game era, I do things as like, all right, I read a chapter of a book, that's 5 XP. All right, I did this, that's XP. And then you just think of yourself as constantly leveling up like you were in a game. And I feel like when you're worried about that rather than how much money's in my bank, I mean, to me, that's a positive.
Yeah. And all, something that like, I don't know if we're the right people to be talking about it, but I think eventually someone's going to talk about it at some point, and it has to do with health and the sports that are being played, and talk like referring back to this as gaming, esports creating beta males, and what does that mean in terms of like, are these people beta because they're choosing to do an version of a sport as opposed to a real version and risk their health?
As much as I hate to say it, and as hard as we're not trying to tie this episode with our last ones, I think it goes right in with the whole toxic masculinity topic, to where I think that would be considered toxic masculinity to call someone a beta male because they're good at, because say you build websites and you build, and you're a programmer and you build softwares and websites and apps and shit like that. Are you less of a man than a construction worker that builds buildings?
My thing, it's not even so much that, but like my thing is how much time do sports even have?
What do you mean how much time? Like how much time is your career in sports?
No, like sports. Like there's constantly now being changes on safety and rules
yeah.
and hitting and fighting and this and that. And there's new science that's coming out that's showing how dangerous all these things are. People are dying.
We don't know. I mean, that's kind of a different topic.
It's 100% different topic, but that's the topic that really needs to be talked about with the esports being beta versus not, because I don't think that's fair.
I don't either. I don't
look down the line and say, I don't want brain damage, so I'm going to figure out how to do. I still love the game. And if now there's a professional avenue for me to do this game where I don't have to get hurt, why not do it?
Well, and that's what I was going to say, like, is that like there's so many ways that you can do it now, especially like even like,
and women are involved in it.
Yeah, you're a big hockey fan, so you can start a hockey podcast, or you can play chell and be a professional chell player, and women can participate. Like, I don't know, dude. I think esports are fine, and they're not a part of any problem. You should just leave them alone.
I think they're cool, dude.
They are. I mean, and it's cool that, because before, like really good gamers were always pinned as outcasts. They never had a group. They never had a crew. And now they get to go to these huge freaking events where there's thousands of people like them. And then now you're going to tell them they can't do that or call them betas just because they finally found a community of people they can hang out with? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, dude. Well, that and it's...
Go jack off to weird shit, dude, like they've been doing.
The graphics are so good on the games, and the like...
Well, they've evolved so quick. That's
if you're drunk at a bar and you look at the TV and you see an esports tournament going on and you're drunk, there's a good chance that you think it's the real deal.
You could, yeah, if you're drunk enough. And if you're drunk enough and you don't play video games, then yeah.
You don't even have to be that drunk, dude. I don't think.
I mean, I probably would be.
You grew up on video games.
But that's what I'm saying.
But,
If
like,
you're drunk and
someone-
you haven't played video
you got a
games in a
little
long
decent
time.
buzz on, I think you're mistaking it as a big game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, and like, and I don't know, like, and on the overall topic of them being toxic, I just like, I don't see how they can be unless, like, I'll say this on childhood, and then I'll talk to video games. We'll talk as video games as adults, because I feel like we've just done a pretty good job of talking about them in our childhood, the games we played, the ones we liked, the quality of them then, and how they affect us. The one thing I'll say, in games I freaking loved, and it's a double-edged sword, and that would be Rock Band and Guitar Heroes. Because I got into playing guitar, wanted to get into playing guitar before I got Guitar Hero. Started playing Guitar Hero, and it was like, oh shit, I can play the songs that I want to play, learn a bunch of new songs, and be playing it and feel like I'm playing it, but I'm not actually playing the guitar. And I felt like in those younger years, I gravitated always towards playing Guitar Hero rather than actually playing guitar, because it was simply easier. And that's the one thing, is I definitely feel like I probably would have kept guitar going longer. Maybe, I'm not going to say I would have, but I'm going to say I probably would have kept it going a little longer if I didn't have Guitar Hero, but maybe not, because I'll say the pro of it is that it opened me up to so much new music that I would have never heard. Because like M&D, for instance, it's not like our parents are Led Zeppelin fans. It's not like they're, old blues rock. They like their 80s music. They like
Whatever's today and
80s. Today and 80s. And that's 80s alt, not even 80s hair metal or any of like the hard rock stuff.
It's a very specific sound of the 80s.
Mm-hmm. And so we just never would have learned that music, probably a lot of the songs that they had on there. And so I think for that reason, all the different games, it just expanded my love for it and my library. Like, that's what I think really built my love for actual music, listening to music, because you're like, oh shit, that's a good song, it's a good song, and you start ranking up your library with all these songs that you found on Guitar Hero. So it's a double-edged sword on that one. And Rock Band, like, it was so much fun jamming out then when we were doing it. We'd have all the buddies over, and you have one guy on the mic, one guy on the drums, one guy on the guitar, one guy playing bass.
Yeah, dude, I miss those. Those were fun.
So, I'll take that back. But I'd just say it definitely did take away a little bit of just...
Well, now you're back on the guitar.
Now I'm shredding.
You're shredding. So, yeah, like another game to bring up from back then, though, and you already touched on it, was GTA. And GTA is a crazy game that's like culturally been such a big part of, I feel like,
society,
a couple of generations. And like, my first introduction to GTA was Vice City.
Me too.
And then San Andreas, and I don't know of all the business, the behind the scenes business stuff that went into a lot of these games, but like when did the last GTA come out? GTA 5. People are still playing it like it's brand new.
2000 September. Oh wait, no, I'm just kidding. It would have been like,
it's like 10 years, right? Since Xbox?
No, because it would have been like 2011 or no, it had to have been 2012 or 13.
It was 2013.
Yeah, we were in Denver. We were just about to
September 17th, dude. Day
after my B-Day. I think I remember that too, dude. I was all excited. Yeah, dude. Well, they are a game that's really, like, when you look at their first game from now, like their evolution, they're the Family Guy of video games.
Yeah.
And pretty timeless for the most part too. Yeah, dude, they can just keep putting out these new downloads and people still keep playing it like it's brand new, like you're saying. But I think, like,
it's a weird social experiment, that game.
It is, but my thing is this, and why I think it debunks the whole thing of like video games create violent people. Or remember that argument? Like if you play
Well,
war game,
that
gun
was the
games.
other thing we haven't touched on yet was Call of Duty, you know, and the different war games that have been out. But like Call of Duty was a huge thing that parents weren't letting their kids do because it was
promoting violence and all these things. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing with GTA though. In those games, it's like you play them and you know, I've never had. It's like like sure, maybe there are people that have done bad things out there that have played GTA or Call of Duty because everyone's played it. It's like when they say it's like when they say it's like when they say that like weed's a gateway drug to fucking meth. And it's like, okay, well, dude, there's a lot of people that smoke weed and there's not that many meth heads running around. So something's not adding up the numbers. Same thing with GTA. Like everyone's playing fucking GTA and everyone's playing Call of Duty. There's not like the numbers, the stats don't line. Yeah, there's too many people that play it for how little of.
There's too many people who do bad things with guns, obviously, but one is too many.
One is too many.
And so many people play these games.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers,
it's not. It doesn't correlate.
It's not an argument that you can back up and make.
Yeah, dude. I'll say this, dude. On Call of Duty, I miss the old COD. Miss the old Call of Duty.
Dude, it's pretty much the same, man.
It's not.
It is. It is. They're the same.
It's not, dude. Call of Duty 3 was the best.
Okay, well, they're all different from that.
Yeah,
I think COD 4, bro. COD 4 is dope.
Well, I liked COD 3 because of the World War II thing, and I didn't like the recent.
You didn't like the last World War II one?
I liked it. It felt a little too real for me.
It did a little bit. You're like in the trenches, and you got the good headsets on, bro. You think you're gonna get PTSD
because on Call of Duty 3 and when the World War II thing, like
the graphics weren't as good.
You were obviously in a video game. But this last one, it was like
you're in a trench, you get a smoke grenade.
It's
and
real late night, dude. And if you just watched the first Captain America the night before, you might be in a different place mentally, with your time. So
I hear you. I think what'll be really cool to see, with speaking of evolution in games, is when VR becomes more of a thing, because then you're being active. And we did skip on the Xbox Kinect.
Well,
and the Wii, dude. I was just gonna say the Kinect and the Wii.
We skipped over Game Boy Advance SP. We skipped over PSP.
Well, okay, portables were a big part of my life. Because I would take those. I'd be hitting those before bed.
You got to.
And then I'd be sneaking them in. I think I used to keep my PSP, dude, under my bed. And when I used to have to go to bed, I'd go to bed and be like, all right, I'm going to bed at night. And I'd go and I'd sneak under and grab my fucking PSP, dude. And I'd be playing. I'd Midnight Club, bro. I was playing Midnight Club.
I miss those, dude. Those were the days.
They were cool, man. They were fun on planes. They were fun. But I think for us, with things like that were so important. Also, is we traveled so much as playing travel hockey and us being together. Like we had friends growing up that were playing travel hockey. But like they would travel separately, or like it would just be like a mom and son going to a trip, or like a dad and son going on a trip. But we pretty much always were going to things together. So like there are a lot of tournaments and stuff where I'd be sitting in the car for hours, and then I'd be sitting at the rink for hours. Just you got two back-to-backs. You got a double header. Mm-hmm. You know, you got the rink, you know, you get to grab a bite to eat in between games real quick, but then I'm back on PSP. So for me, like, being a little bro of your games, I don't know what you were ever doing during my games because I was busy stopping pucks, but,
I was doing the same thing.
I was just gaming out.
Making friends.
Yeah, you play a little tag. You'd play tag, and you know, hit on one of the sisters of the team, and then
you'd play a little Time Crisis here and there if they got that.
Yeah, if the rink has video games, I think that's another form of video games too that are cool. Or like actual, like for what we know to be arcades, is like a Dave and Buster's or a GameWorks type of place. ESPN Zone. ESPN Zone was my favorite place as a kid.
Yeah, dude. They always represented hockey there.
Mm-hmm.
And I respected them for that. My favorite ESPN Zone was the one in Chicago, I believe.
Is that the one that had the shooter tutor like right when you walked in? Or is that Vegas?
Vegas, I think. I don't know, dude. I don't remember.
Either way, dude, they were fun, and those types of environments are fun. I was
in New York City.
I don't even know. I don't even know where they have them all. I just really know of Vegas, and then I think Chicago. But I just think that what's cool is that they've gotten a lot more respect, video games, I think, over the years with streaming. And like, as soon as something gets monetized, it gets respect from people.
Yeah,
because
weird.
even people with money go, oh, okay, that might be an investment opportunity. So they ease up on things because they never know if their business that they have could profit off of advertisements for these things, or maybe they're not thinking that, but
it should be.
Or it's a competition thing to where they're like, oh, this is taking people out of the work or whatever the fuck. But I don't know.
There should be. It's a strange world though to think that like people are making money just from streaming games. That's weird.
Dude, you know what though?
It's cool, but it's weird.
I will say this though, like I don't know if you've ever watched a game being played by someone else, but dude, there's something to it, man. Like I even remember like there's been times in our life, you and I, to where I don't even know what era of our life. I think it was before we were living together. This is when we were still living together under M&D's roof. So sometime in our teen years when you'd be in and out of places for hockey, and like this is when, you know, I wasn't going with you to trips. We're talking like T-Bird era on. And you'd be just playing COD with your buddies, or you'd be playing, you know, Forza, or you're playing Minecraft, or you're playing one of those games. Yeah, dude, fun game. But you're playing one of those games, and I would just be sitting on whatever chair you had in your room at the time, or the little couch thing, and I just sit in there and watch you play. I'm not even playing or engaged, but there's something just like sometimes therapeutic, or like
you would do that. Just sit in my room.
Yeah, just be sitting.
If I'm playing with friends online, you would just be in my room
once in a while.
I don't remember that.
I'm talking more about like, I don't even know if you were playing with friends.
Maybe it's just like a storyline. We were just hanging out and I was playing.
You were just playing. I wasn't playing with you is my point. I didn't know if you were playing with a friend or not. Not when you're on a headset.
Dude. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's weird.
What if you're in a game with someone? Like,
don't make it seem like I'm fucking hanging out with my boys and you're just the little sad puppy dog on the couch.
No. That's what I'm trying to. Nah, dude. I'm not putting off that. I'm not putting off that vibe. So I think the listeners will know where I'm saying. But like, I'm just trying to say that there's something to just watching someone play a game that's, I don't know, peaceful.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm not saying that you were leaving me alone, because we'd play together a lot. But
I'm always wanting next game, dude. That's my thing.
But you just get zoned out watching. Like, you just sit there and you're not intending. You're like, dude, I'm not gonna watch someone play a game. Like, I'd be sitting in your room. I'm talking more about.
I'm your brother, dude, and we're hanging. We're talking like these people are making money by like live streaming them play games online, and like.
Dude, like, but then again, like, I mean, I guess we technically are now, but like, we're doing this and we're just sitting at a table talking to each other about video games.
Well, no,
that gets listened some.
Yeah, that's true, and that's weird to me too. Though I'm not knocking any.
Well, no, I know. I know you're not knocking. I'm just saying,
it's
like,
a strange observation that people are willing to like tune into that.
The evolution of jobs.
People are willing to tune into this. People are willing to tune into anything, and I guess it's just about interest. But it's interesting to me that so many people are interested in a fucking video game, that enough to like be like, you know what, dude, I'm not even gonna not play this, but like I'm gonna watch someone else play it.
Yeah, well, it's not like, well, because what it used to feel like was like streamers back then. They used to have streamers and they'd be like, all right, I'm going to play this today. I'm going to play this today. Now you're got like, all right, dude, I'm a Warzone streamer. Like I stream just playing Warzone. I just do Fortnite. I just do fucking this.
I would do it though, dude.
I just stream GTA.
I would stream Beer Pros. I would stream like I would have if we had the demand for it, but I would have no ambition to build a demand for it, you know?
Yeah.
Well, maybe, dude. I don't know. It would be fun business.
It could be fun. I mean, and like you look at like Sugar Sean O'Malley, the UFC fighter, he makes I think more money being a streamer than he does being a fighter. If not, probably not anymore because he's starting to make a name in the UFC. But like,
well, Mighty Mouse was a big.
But Mighty Mouse, yeah, and
Rampage.
Stipe's even doing it now. Baddest man on the planet.
Max Holloway.
Max Holloway's killing it. And I think it's cool for athletes to be able to do it because, like, there's always the idea, too, that, like, well, while they're doing that, your opponent's training. Not all the fucking time. Like,
well, and that is training in some respects. Like
yeah, I mean,
you're learning the game. You're studying.
Yeah, but if you're streaming Warzone and,
oh, yeah.
That's not.
Well, yeah.
That's what most of them are doing.
People like Sugar Sean, like, doing that. Well, like, I know hockey guys always were playing NHL. Like, sure, they'd play Call of Duty and this and that, but, like, anytime you would see them in a behind-the-scenes thing, it was always them playing NHL. And they
always NHL or COD.
Mm-hmm. So.
NHL or COD.
But, yeah, dude, video games, they're cool, man. I'm a fan of them. I support them. I support them for my little dude. I got Gregory playing Crash Bandicoot. They remastered the Crash series, and then they remastered Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
Yeah, I got that.
And so little man just been ripping around on Tony Hawk, and I mean, it's like when he goes to get on a skateboard, whenever that is, he's not going to be as intimidated by it.
Like, what is this?
Yeah, like he's going to be like, oh, dude, you just roll around on this, and then eventually you jump, and he's jumped and he's ollied enough times on the game to where when he goes to ollie in real life, he's going to know he's got to drag his foot and come up with it. You'll start to like,
I don't know. It's not going to be like that. I wouldn't get your hopes up that it's that transitional.
He's not going to ollie the first step, but it's going to make more. I'm saying that it's the connection is going to be a lot more there than like
a lot seamless.
Then for me to have to say, okay, here's what you gotta do. And I don't know.
For his 5th birthday, be like, all right, dude, here's a skateboard. I'm like, the fuck is this? I've never seen that.
No, I'm not hoping that he's gonna be able to tray flip on his 4th birthday.
Trying to create a little Nigel Houston.
No.
But they've evolved so much, man. So cool. And I think that it comes to a point with discipline. It's like everything, like we say, like there is a point where it can be toxic, but so can everything, you can drink coffee to a toxic point.
Water, dude. You can get water poisoning.
Yeah. But, yeah, and I know like everyone likes to say that too when they're talking about, moderation for everything. They always say that you can die from water, and it's true. But on a more realistic note, though, like
they don't rot your brain.
We're not saying, because they don't do all the stereotypical myths that like they constantly tell you. And it's the same thing I have right now with politics and everything. It's like people are talking about the wrong things, and that's the same thing with video games. Their argument against video games are the wrong arguing points for video games, and I think that would be my issue with the thing. Like, I think what would have been cooler, like what would be a great idea would be to create like a piano Guitar Hero to where buttons correlate with the game. Like, because guitar's a string.
Piano's kind of already a Guitar Hero button thing. There's just a lot more buttons.
I know, but I'm saying if they had a keyboard that was like, or like a MIDI, like a beat,
2 of them.
Beat Hero, and you got to do beats, and you get a little MIDI. You get a little MIDI controller.
They tried that.
Did they?
Yeah.
I think DJ Hero or something, but that's DJ and then the spins and everything. I'm talking like you pretty much getting a Kai Mini, And for those that don't know what it is, you've probably seen it on one of our stories, but it's essentially a mini keyboard, and you plug it into your computer, and you can put sounds in it, and it's a MIDI controller. You can just look it up. It's a small keyboard, but that would teach you, I feel like that would do a better job of teaching you, rather than like something like Guitar Hero is a little bit harder to do for actually making a good guitar player. But then maybe that's not the goal. It's just to get people either interested or to spark the interest. So I don't know, but as we were talking about earlier, not to keep bringing it up, but it did more good than harm, I think.
Yeah, and I think like the fact that the online community of gaming exists is overall a good thing. Like obviously there's been a lot of bullying issues and everyone's got their isolated incidents, but like the fact that someone can play a game with or against someone all the way across the world and at the same time in the same game is a cool thing. Like no matter what happened or what guys said what to you in the lobby, like it's a cool thing that you're doing.
Well, and then even just the fact that like you can just go play with your buddies. Like I know for me, and especially during all this CV stuff going on, it's been nice for me because obviously, it's not like you're just sitting at fucking home when you were, and then I moved out, and then you're living on your own when bars aren't open, when things aren't open, and like your buddies are out doing their thing, and you can't really all go just meet up and do whatever. You could all jump in a party, talk some shit, whatever. You don't have to go out, you don't have to do anything, and obviously when the world gets back to somewhat normal, then you want to have a balance of it, and you want to go out and you want to have a mixture of everything, otherwise, because then it can get toxic to where all you're doing is sitting at home with your buddies and you're not ever seeing people. That could lead to toxicity, but I think like just during this time, it's been nice for people to be able to like just still socialize. Granted, it's different, but
I wish people got more into video games, dude.
I think you'd be surprised. I think it's really changed a lot. As I've seen over the years, I always felt like people had such a negative opinion of them and connotation. Now that like streaming's become such a big money thing for people, and like so many people are making a lot of money now on it. It's not just like one guy making money. Like what was the one guy on YouTube that was like the first guy to make money? Was his name PewDiePie? Is he a gaming streamer?
I'm not sure.
Well, I don't know. One of those guys who's like huge in gaming streaming. I'm not an avid streaming fan. I know I'm sure it seemed like it earlier when I was saying I love to watch you play video games, and you made me seem like I'm a weirdo.
Well, I just was clarifying.
You're covering your own back, and I get it.
You don't want to come off like a piece of shit,
dude. I get it.
And I didn't want you to come off like a weirdo.
Well,
you were just saying.
All right. Well, nonetheless, I still think I don't know who the main guy is. I don't know who the Conor McGregor, I don't know the LeBron James of streaming, but what I do know is that I think a lot of people and a lot of old heads eased up on the idea of video games, and especially seeing like we were talking about pro athletes playing them and having their own streaming accounts and stuff like that. And I think it's a good way for recovery for a lot of these guys. And like, I almost think that too a little bit. Like when I was younger, first getting into business, I constantly felt like I had to be like learning or doing something super productive that was immediately affecting my success in business or like all these things. You just get in that mindset of like, I can't do anything for my own pleasure if it's not going to be making me money in a year or two. And I think a lot of people get trapped in that idea, but what like people don't realize is that there really is, I feel like, only so much you can do in a day before you're doing more harm than good. Because I've realized you work yourself up to a point to where like you do need some form of release. And I think that's how I got into guitar and why I've continued to do things like play video games. Like I'll play, you know, at night or something after I work out and stuff. And like, if it starts getting in the way to where like I'm not coming into work because I'm playing, you know, I feel like playing Warzone on a Wednesday, so I'm not going to come work Wednesday because I want to play Warzone all day, then like, yeah, then that could be a problem. But like the fact that I want to go home for a little bit after I'm done working, after you're done working out,
Get a
after
game
you've
in.
made dinner, after you've cleaned your dishes, after everything's done, then you can get some games in.
Why not get a game or two in? Dude?
Exactly. What am I going to go do? Fucking go back to reading a book at 9 o'clock at night? Like, dude, go fuck yourself. Ease up.
Yeah. Chill out.
So I think that's, but it goes in the movie watching thing. It's just like, at what point, like, how cool are you? You know, like, how cool are you trying to be?
But like, that's just people closing themselves off to not feeling like they can learn by
Or just being
watching
themselves. Because
or doing a video game.
but I also believe that not everything has to be, and don't get me wrong, I'm the biggest advocate of fucking self-learning, and I think it's the most important thing you can do. But I think it's okay sometimes to not have such a motive for everything. I just think you can live a happier life not attaching necessarily a motive to everything, to where like you're putting the pressure on gaming that you have to learn something out of it, rather than like sometimes you can just sit down and be like, just being okay with the fact that you can just sit down and zone out for an hour and a half.
Well,
To where you're not like having the motive like, all right, I want to learn IQ. I want my IQ to get better for hockey or understand the game better. Or,
well, I think it's okay for your reason to be just cause, you know, like I think that you should always have a reason to do something, but I think it's also okay for it to just be just cause.
yeah, just cause.
You know, like, yes, I have this goal, but like, it's just because I want to do it. You know, it's not because of anything else, you know, but it's still being goal oriented and it's still like being after something.
That's true.
It's just like I don't know, but it's a fun way to compete still and have fun.
Well, that was huge for us getting older. Like, we weren't able to play street hockey. Like, we're so competitive, or we've just always been, and I wouldn't even necessarily say with each other, like with some things we are, but we just like to compete against each other with shit. And gaming's been a great way, I think, for us to be able to do that in a civil way.
Yeah, like we don't have a driveway or a cul-de-sac to play street hockey,
Or even in UFC, we want to beat each other's asses,
Yeah,
but we
we're
can't
not-
actually we can't just go to fucking Fight Ready and go put on the gloves and fight.
we could, but we don't want
but
to.
Yeah, it just wouldn't be,
And
be
then
productive.
and then it's not like we're gonna rent out an ice rink and just
1-on-1.
1v1 do breakaways the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, you were a goalie and I was a not goalie, but that wouldn't be very fun. So the video games, dude, is a good way for us to still enjoy all the things that we've always enjoyed throughout our lives, but still be able to do it and
And compete and
yeah, dude. It's fun. I don't know. The new NHL came out. That's been fun. Been
can't wait to
playing
beat your
that.
ass on that.
Not
I still have to beat your ass in UFC. I haven't gotten to that yet.
That's probably not gonna happen either.
NBA, you name it, dude. I'm coming for you.
Nah.
You can have NBA.
Yeah. Well.
Actually, you probably do. Download it for you, probably.
Well. Anyways, dude, I think it's been a good week.
Yeah, I think it's been a good week, good episode. I think
I think we've defended video games pretty well. Hopefully,
it gets out there for people.
hopefully people ease up on them, dude.
And then if you got a girlfriend, man, who doesn't let you play video games, thankfully I've never had that, but you've struggled with it, haven't you?
Yeah, dude. And I'll tell you what, Shaylee is a dream.
She just couldn't give a fuck.
Couldn't care less, dude. I'll be in the middle of a game and she'll come down from putting little man to bed, and I'll be like, "Is it cool if I finish the game?" She's like, "I don't give a shit." And she'll just sit there and watch me like how you used to
Dude, that's
do.
what I'm saying, man. There's something to it.
Fucking.
It's nice.
And then, but yeah, dude, I've definitely had it in the past where it's just it's the bane of their existence for them to know that they've got an unproductive man who's just playing
Yeah.
video games.
Yeah.
and that's their deal, dude.
And that there's an argument for toxic femininity, not to.
But
not to drop another
don't
episode.
allow yourself to be in that type of a relationship, dude. If your girl isn't cool with you playing games, then
Unless you're not into video games at all, then you're probably not listening to this. You're probably just waiting for next week's episode. But
yeah, you're not this far in.
yeah,
If you're playing, dude.
yeah, if you're a gamer, because you only listen to this far if you're a gamer.
If you're gaming and your girl isn't letting you game, you find a new girl.
Unless you're a girl that's listening to this that's anti-games and wanting to see if we're going to convince you, here's your shot. Take your man and say, next time you see him gaming, just go up to him and be like, fucking get that guy.
Yeah.
If you see him playing COD, say, how you doing? Get him. Go get him.
Support your man on his game.
Push.
Yeah, dude. Support your man on his game. And I'll tell you what, it's worked wonders for my relationship. Shaylee
Lets
and I
the guard
couldn't
down
have
a little bit, yeah.
A better, and I have.
You don't feel controlled.
Yeah, not at all. And it's great.
Yeah, fortunately, all the girls I've dated actually have been
I always
pretty
ask.
pro.
I'm always a gentleman. I always ask, and she's always like, "Have I ever said?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just polite."
Have I ever said?
But anyways, dude.
Might.
All right, this is a fun week.
Fun week, break
wrap
the
it up.
flow.
I'm ready to go play some video games, dude.
Me too.
actually. So, sign off.
Wrap it up like a Saturday night.
For those of you just tuning in, I'm Jay,
I'm Z.
and together we're Jay-Z.
Chip. Hove.
It's gonna be awkward.
I don't get it. You do the math.